Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey friends, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. And this is the place, this is your home, for organic Bible study. Come on in here to the Bible Bistro, let that screen door slam behind you, get something hot or cold to drink, grab your Bible and join me today in Psalm 53, and while you've got your Bible open there, put your thumb or some piece of paper or something where Psalm 14 is, because I'm going to look back to Psalm 14 as well. Here's one of the greatest differences between these two Psalms. I called them fraternal twins, and mostly that's because of the extended introduction that we have and because of what we have here in verse 5. Verse 5 in Psalm 14 and verse 5 in Psalm 53 are very different. As a matter of fact, they're significantly different. Psalm 14 begins the same way as Psalm 53. There were they in great fear. They have that same thing in Psalm 14. But after that, it kind of changes. So we're going to talk about that change, the difference. And taking these two together, getting the whole picture of what is trying to be communicated here to us. Because remember, this is significant. Two psalms in the Psalter that say the same thing. You should sit up and listen to this. Okay, let me read for you verse 5 from Psalm 53. There were they in great fear, where no fear was. For God hath scattered the bones of him that encamped against thee. Thou hast put them to shame, because God hath despised them. So there's our fifth verse in Psalm 53. In Psalm 14, we have this. There were they in great fear, for God is in the generation of the righteous. Okay, first of all, there were they in great fear. The language here, the verb, is doubled. So you have they were fearful there fearfully, or they were fearful there really, really exceedingly afraid. So when you double the verb like that, it emphasizes the action of the verb. And so you have there were they in exceeding fear, or as the King James has it, in great fear. But I'm not sure that great fear does it, because it's an overwhelming fear. There were they in overwhelming fear, where no fear was. Now that's in verse 5 here in 53. That does not occur in Psalm 14. In Psalm 14, it just has, there were they in exceeding fear, for God is in the generation of the righteous. So where no fear was is not even present there. And you'll notice that in Psalm 14 it says, for God is in the generation of the righteous. That's why they're afraid in Psalm 14, because remember, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God, but then they see the hand of God amongst the church, the generation of the righteous, and they're afraid, because suddenly they realize they could be wrong. Now in verse 5 of Psalm 53, there were they in great fear, where no fear was, for God had scattered the bones of him that encamped against thee. So that in 53, they see the judgment of God. In 14, they see the mercy of God. God is in the generation of the righteous. So they see his righteousness, his mercy, his loving kindness. It causes them to be afraid because they've said there is no God. But now they are witnessing his presence. In 53, they're afraid because God has done a work of judgment. He's scattered the bones of him that encamped against thee, and has put them to shame, because God has despised them. So God despises the fool that says there is no God. He despises those that are corrupt, who have done abominable iniquity, who don't seek after God, who is gone back, has become filthy, and doesn't do good. No, not even one. God has despised them. So you see the difference between the two. One, it's a picture of God's mercy and activity amongst the righteous. And 2, in 53, it is God's judgment and his despising of those who are foolish enough to say, well, There is no God. Okay, join me again tomorrow. We're going to look at verse 6 here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.